friends, chicken to them is like potato. They don't really see that as a problem. How do you decide that this animal feels less?
It's a perception that, pigs stay in dirt, but it's not true.
Pigs are smarter than dogs. They learn games. Chicks that you see who have just grown in a matter of a few weeks. Kilos of plastic inside cows.
Cows who have been discarded after the treatment from the dairy.
How can they stay in cages when they have such soft feet? Fashion should not only empower the consumer, but it should empower the world surrounding the consumer too.
Penalty for cruelty towards animal is very less.
Just 50 rupees, anybody can get away with it.
Will you ever date a non-vegetarian?
Olympic wrestler Sakshi Malik was a powerful campaign. More people need to participate in this movement because they can't speak for themselves. Now I'm getting the opportunity to reach more people through this podcast.
Hi, welcome to another episode of Voice for the Voiceless. I'm Shivangi, and today we have with us a very special guest. She is a model and an actress, and we have seen her in a lot of commercials. And she has also been at the top 10 at the Miss India Universe. And most importantly, she's an animal lover. And that is why we have her with us today. Introducing Ojasvi Sharma.
Hi, Shivangi. Hi.
Hi.
Firstly, thank you so much for the kind words and for the amazing introduction. I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah, likewise. We have been talking to each other for a bit now.
Yeah.
And it's so nice to finally meet you. And I love that we are having a good time.
Yeah.
You're from Delhi, right?
Yes. Born and brought up in Delhi.
Nice. And you have also been to Bombay. You've also stayed in Bombay.
Yeah.
Coming to food. So Delhi is popular for its food.
Yeah.
And there is always this thing between Delhi and Bombay, whose food is better.
Yeah.
So I would not make it difficult for you. I'll just ask you what is that one thing, not one thing, you can tell us many things that you like in Delhi, things that you like eating in Delhi and in Bombay.
Okay. So I love Bombay's vada pav.
Of course.
So that, but in Delhi, there are more things than just vada pav.
Okay.
There is chole bhature.
Yeah.
I love golgappe. So I am a huge street food fan.
Me too.
I love chaat. I love papdi and all of that. And golgappe, ram laddu, samosas.
Oh, nice.
So, and chole bhature, I'm a chole bhature fan.
Lovely. I forgot congratulating you for being at the top 10 of Miss India Universe.
Yeah.
So congratulations.
Thank you.
It's very nice to know that, I'm talking to somebody who was a part of a pageant.
Arey, nahi. It's okay. Yeah. Say it again.
Yeah. So how was your experience been at a pageant? How did you get into it?
I got into it actually because of my mother.
Oh.
So she was a huge Miss India fan and she loves Aishwarya Rai.
Great.
Yeah.
Same.
Yeah. So she's a huge fan and she actually motivated me to give this a shot because I always wanted to be in front of the camera and I love glitz and glamour and I want to be an actor. And so she really got this information and spread it out for me and she was like, go for this, all this is needed and this, that. So I went for it and it's been good. It's been an enriching experience because you learn so much in a competitive environment and there are people who have more expertise than you in a particular area. There are people who have had it worse than you. Yeah. So you learn so much. There's so much exposure and yeah, it really changes you.
Yeah.
And most of all, I would like to mention this, you have to have a thick skin. And I think that's something I've learned from pageants because once you enter a pageant, you're a public figure.
Of course.
So, and people have the right to say whatever they feel like saying about you and they can criticize you. So you can't control everything
Right.
that you say or do or whatever. So I think you need to have a thick skin and just keep going forward. That's something I've learned from pageants.
Yeah, definitely. But there's also one thing that comes with like having influence basically, or like being popular, or with having some following.
Yeah.
So which is also like our responsibility
Yeah.
towards the society,
Yeah.
or towards those who can't speak for themselves, or
Yeah.
don't have a voice of their own.
Yeah.
So like how do you think, like somebody with influence or somebody with following can make that kind of change? And do you think like it's important for people to understand that if they have influence, they can use it for something greater, something good?
Yeah, absolutely. I believe that if you have a number of people who follow you and watch your content, they want to watch your journey and everything, you have a voice in the society. But if you open your minds and learn more about what's happening to the animals, you'll realize that more people need to participate in this movement because they can't speak for themselves.
Definitely.
So, and we can. And if you have that influence, why not use it every now and then? I'm not saying do just this, but every now and then you should use your platform and influence for something that's greater than yourself.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. So I've seen your Instagram. Like before the podcast, I was going through it, and I saw that you talk a lot about chickens and battery cages, and like what we can do for them. You resonate with it, and if there's a story behind that.
People in my life, in my immediate circle of friends, most of them are non-vegetarians.
Okay.
And chicken to them is like potato.
Oh,
So they don't really see that as a problem. But the other animals, like the bigger animals that in other cultures they are normalized, for them, eating them is not normal to them, but eating chicken is very normal to them.
like a dog and a cat.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So people don't realize that these are all just animals.
Yeah.
And how do you decide that this animal feels less?
Exactly.
And this animal feels more, right?
Yeah.
So that's the whole point. And because it's so normalized and I've seen it, and I have to say this, I've also tried chicken. I've tried non-vegetarian food, and I used to have this perception that I'm doing it because I need protein.
Yeah, that's the biggest misconception
Yeah.
of people who consume
Yeah.
non-vegetarian food,
Yeah.
especially chicken.
Exactly. And it's so normalized. Like people, when I say like, why would you eat a chicken burger? Because don't you think it's an animal, it's a bird?
Yeah.
They'll look at me like I'm insane and they'll be like, it's a chicken burger.
But it's somebody's life.
Yeah, so they don't see that. They've been conditioned in a way. And because I've been there, I understand that. So we need to, that's why I talk more about chicken and, battery cages because it's so normalized.
Yeah.
And I don't want it to be normalized. Like I want to talk more and more about what's happening is just unfair.
Yeah.
I mean, you're like holding them by their legs and throwing them inside cages which have like 10 other chickens. They have no space.
Yeah.
And they're not able to even like spread their wings and do, things that they are born to do.
Yeah.
So whatever is happening is very unnatural and controlled, and it's just for greed.
Unfair. So, like, would you like to kind of describe to people, like, so that somebody who watches this reel knows that what they actually go through in these cages, just because we can have one sunny side up.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I've had the opportunity to actually visit an animal farm, not a factory farm, but where animals are kept and they're taken care of and they're happy and everything, and they support veganism.
Okay.
So there's this farm in Delhi, in Scenic Farms. It's called, I forgot the name. So we went there and there were a lot of hens over there, and I really wanted to, because we know goats and we know sheep and everything. I could be wrong, but this is my personal opinion. I think because they are just bigger animals, we see them as maybe more like they come closer to dogs and cats. Like I wouldn't say we put them in the same category. That's why we are eating them.
Yeah.
We don't put them in the same category. But chicken is not given that much like priority or place in the society, in the minds. So I wanted to be around chickens and just learn more about them without disturbing them. So they were just roaming around, and
Natural habitat.
yeah. So, and there was like proper soil and no concrete floor and everything. So they were roaming around there. And my mom picked up a hen, and she told me later that so the hen was had its claws like clasped like this on her hands, and later she told me that it's very padded, like it's so soft. And I said, oh. And then she said that now I understand, like, how can they stay in cages when they have such soft this thing feet?
Yeah.
And they are put in cages, and that also leaves like bruises and deep cuts on their feet. So that's one thing. And the other thing is that the way chickens are grown, you know, they are just chicks that you see who have just grown in a matter of a few weeks. So they are just bred this way, and they can't take their own muscle weight because all we care about is the muscle. So the skeleton inside the chickens is just like a chick's. So they can't handle their own muscle weight, and they go through so much. This is just like 2 points I have shared. And in battery cages, I think we know that how crammed up it is.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's the size of an A4 sheet, and we get irritated when, you know, the place is too crowded. Yeah, we can't take that for so long. And imagine it's their life, their entire life. They live for a few weeks and then they're chopped.
Yeah.
So I feel, and there are other options. Like as a vegetarian, my dad is a sports person. It's not like vegetarian, they don't consume protein at all.
Yeah,
We're
your dad's
not
a
dying.
sports person,
We're very much alive like vegetarians. So I don't know what to say about that. And even in like egg, I don't consume egg at all too, because it's very cruel. Because so one egg takes 10% of the total body's calcium.
Okay.
And they are used like machines. So because egg is so normalized and it's used in many foods, in, for example, shampoos also, so many things. So cakes, it's so normalized, and they are literally used like machines. So they have to produce an egg, maybe like 2-3 eggs in a day or whatever. I don't know. I don't know. But they are producing an egg every day. And naturally, their bodies are not built for that. They need, I think, 24 hours to reset their system and then produce another egg. But since the demand is so high, it's very cruel. And that's why the hens in egg farms, and most of the eggs come from egg farms. People debate that, no, I get free range eggs and this, that. Most of the eggs that you're getting are coming from egg farms. The eggs that are cruelty free or whatever, they are very costly, firstly. Not everybody can afford them. So all that is happening. And so these egg farms, you know, that's why hens, after a few weeks, they become so frail. Like it debilitates their physical strength. They lose their feathers, and then they're just disposed of as garbage. So that's also very sad. And I keep talking about this in particular, like whatever happens with hens, because it's very normalized, and because I was a part of the problem too at a point of time. So I understand how normalized this is, and that's why I want to break this
So cute
thought process.
also, yeah. Chicks are so cute.
Yeah, they're so cute. Yeah. Also, like one more thing to mention, no, that male chicks are
They are of
ground
no use to the industry. And so they're just discarded. They're just killed in different ways.
Yeah, 1 day old male chicks are just
so
ground up
cute.
alive.
So
And they are put in plastic bags, and the plastic bags are tied and they're thrown away. So
You wouldn't even throw your garbage that way.
Yeah.
It's that bad.
Yeah.
So-
and all that is happening. So I understand when people say that eggs में कुछ भी नहीं होता, it's not non-veg. हाँ नहीं होता, but the
But there's a
direct
thing in North India, there's a thing called vegetarian.
Yeah.
I did not know this when I.
yeah yeah there's a thing called
Either
vegetarian.
you're a vegetarian or you're a non-vegetarian.
Yeah.
Right. How do you use your platform for, talking about this? Obviously, like I've seen your Instagram videos.
Yeah.
And yeah, is there any other way that you support, like, the cause?
So
And like, how do you recommend, like, how do other people also,
yeah
if they want to help,
yeah
what could be the starting points?
So I help in whatever way I can. And if I have the time and the money, some money saved, I'll make donations whenever it's needed. I'm not saying regular, but this is something that people need to understand, that they can help whenever and however they can. And of course, I use social media because we live in a digital era.
Yeah.
And it's very important to also speak up for things that resonate with you. So I've always been an animal lover. I've had pets and I've had rabbits at my nanny's
Okay.
place. Yeah. I've also had I've had rabbits. I've had dogs. So I've just generally like had love for these, for animals. So it just came naturally to me. And once I saw all that, I just decided to use social media. And through social media, like I got to connect to different people, like Mercy for Animals.
Yeah.
We connected over social media because I was making videos and talking about this.
Yeah.
And now I'm getting the opportunity to reach more people through this podcast.
Yeah.
So I believe that social media can really be used and it can have an influence.
Yeah, definitely it does.
Yeah.
It does. You mentioned about your dad being a sports person and that he is a vegetarian.
Yeah.
And I've heard that sports persons are very strict, very disciplined with their lifestyle.
Yeah.
So how has it influenced you? Like how
Yeah, that's a nice
has
question.
it shaped your
Papa
career?
will smile at this question.
Oh.
I genuinely think that having a sports person in your life, and especially when it's your father, it really like influences the way you approach life. So he always says this, that life is like a match and you just have to, till the 20th point, you have to give your best shot, even if you see yourself lose, because the whole game can change at the 20th point. And he won the world championship.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, in 2023. In the,
Congratulations to him. Yeah.
Thank you. So, and that's how the game went. So his opponent was at the 20th point. It's a 21 points game.
Okay.
It can extend to 30 also. So it's a 21 points game. And he was at 20. He was at, my dad was at 13.
Oh.
But the game changed and he actually won. So that's what he means by saying that life is also very unpredictable. Just because you see yourself lose, you can't give up.
Yeah.
You have to keep giving your best shot. I think that's the sportsman spirit.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think that is a very good advice. Very good
Yeah.
point. I think everybody should follow that.
Yeah.
Do you follow Mercy for Animals work?
Yes, I do. I've been following you guys for a year now, I guess.
Nice.
Yeah.
What do you like the most about what MFA does?
Okay, so
You know about our campaigns, what we do.
yeah, I've seen some of your campaigns, and I personally enjoyed watching when you partnered with the Olympic wrestler
Yeah.
Sakshi Malik.
Yeah.
I think that was a powerful campaign, and because when you like include someone like an Olympic wrestler,
Yeah.
it breaks so many like already preconceived notions about a vegan, pure vegetarian lifestyle, and it just speaks for itself. Like if people like this who are into athletics and they are taking care of their body and they support this,
Yeah.
so why can't normal people, regular people do that?
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
that was really powerful. Yeah.
So, are you familiar with the PCA Amendment Act?
Yes.
You are.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you
It's for cruelty towards animals.
yeah, so there's this PC Amendment Act, which
Yeah.
MFA with a lot of other organization has been trying to push for, you know, like the
Amendments. Yeah.
because like one of the major flaws, there are lots of flaws with this, but one of the major flaws is that the penalty for
Oh, yeah.
cruelty towards animal is very less. Like
Yeah.
I think it's 50
It's like
or
50 rupees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like, which doesn't
It's
make sense.
insane. Insane.
How can you like kill some animal, hurt some animal, and then you
And get away with it.
Rupees,
Yeah.
50 rupees.
Yeah.
You know, doesn't make sense. So, I mean, do you have anything to say on that? What is your opinion on it?
It needs a strict amendment and as soon as possible. I mean, if you keep your pets in place of these animals that we normally, take the cases for, I think people will react differently.
Yeah.
So just imagine what all the animals are going through and just 50 rupees. Like anybody, honestly, everybody has 50 rupees with them. And so anybody can get away with it.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, it's just sad that animals can't speak for themselves. Otherwise, this would have changed.
Yeah.
If imagine all of them getting together and saying that,
Writing a petition
yeah, imagine.
saying that not fair.
Yeah,
But it's okay. People like you, people like me,
yeah.
MFA.
MFA is doing a great job. Yeah.
Yeah, Ojasi, do you know about MFA's work on banning gestation crates?
Oh, no, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you about it. So, so basically, MFA India, so the gestation crates were always banned in India, but MFA it was not implemented well because pigs were treated still very badly. So, gestation crates are basically small, like cages again, small
Yeah.
cages where mother pigs are kept. And when they're pregnant and they can't move, there's no space to move in there. I'll share some videos with you if you want to watch it. So MFA India has been able, with other organization, has been able to convince 22 states in India, including like major states like West Bengal, Assam, and UP, and all these
Yeah.
states, to put a ban on the use of gestation crates.
That's a huge thing.
Yeah.
Because pigs are so smart, they're smarter than dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people have this, I don't know, there's this huge misunderstanding that pigs roll around in dirt and
Yeah.
all of that. They are smarter than dogs.
Yeah.
And I've seen videos where people have pigs as pets. They respond to their names. They learn games.
Yeah.
And they play really well. And they smile. You can tell when a pig is smiling. So all that happens. So it's very sad that people are ready to differentiate between animals in this sense.
Yeah.
When it comes to dogs and cats, they'll empathize. When it comes to other animals, it's normalized. Ki ye to hai hi. They are commodities.
Yeah.
So, and I really want to go to a pig farm.
We'll take you.
Yeah.
Because in our recent visits also to like few states,
Yeah.
we noticed that pigs are still kept in such bad conditions. That is what even I was coming at. That it's a perception that pigs stay in dirt, but it's not true. They're also animals that feel emotions. They want to stay in hygienic places, in good conditions. But yeah, I mean, we'll take you for a farm visit if you're interested.
Yeah, I'm interested.
Yeah. You are an animal lover.
Yeah.
And like everybody has that one moment in their life and they realize that they are an animal.
Yeah.
You have a moment like that in your life.
I think that was when I was a kid and I was at my nanny's. So we were in the kitchen and she was making something. And I just said, Nani, kuch paal lo. And she asked me, kya paal lo? And I said, pata nahi, bas kuch paal lo, koi animal rakh lo. And I think that memory is very vivid because she talks about it sometimes. She says, why did you say ki kuch bhi paal lo? You didn't say ki keep a dog or keep a cat and this that. So I think I always had love for animals. And it could be like something that was passed on through genes. I don't know if that's possible because my nanny's father, he is no more, but he was very affectionate towards animals. He used to take care of strays. Like you told me before the podcast, you used to take care of strays in Orissa. And he was like that. And he used to take care of birds. So there was this pigeon or some bird that was injured and in Delhi. So he traveled all the way from one point to some point where there's a bird hospital.
Oh,
And he took that bird there and got the bird treated and everything.
could be the genes.
Yeah, it could be. I sometimes wonder if it's that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And even my mom, she adopted a stray dog once when she was very young.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's very nice.
So, yeah, we all love animals.
Very nice.
Yeah.
A family that loves animals stays together.
yeah, actually.
Just made it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, but see, when you love animals, I'm sure like a lot of now that Instagram algorithm is like, catches so fast, you must be coming across videos of animals also getting tortured and the cruelty that they go through. And also, like in general in life, so I remember there's this memory of me from my childhood where my mother was telling me about the story of this one dog in our colony, a puppy. So there was, the mother had like, had 3-4 babies that week. And my mother was telling me that in the very week, it was winter. And one of the babies was, I think somebody took that baby in a truck. And the mother was crying that night because one of the babies was gone.
Yeah.
So I remember that when she told, like I still remember it very clearly that when she was telling me that story, not story, like she was telling me that this happened, that is why the dog is crying. And I also started crying.
Yeah.
And I was so sad. I was like, how can they take, the puppy away from the mother?
Yeah.
So sometimes like these kind of stories, they just like stay in the back of your mind and they kind of like, like change something in you,
Yeah.
right? So do you have something like that? Do you have a story like that which really like, moved you or made you feel like really sad?
Yeah. So I'll tell you something. I come from a very religious family. We have a meditation guru, and she told me once that be a part of something bigger than yourself in life. Like try to support a social cause. And this one time I was wondering like what social cause should I be a part of, like what should I support? There's so much underprivileged children, this, that, child trafficking, gender-based violence, so much is happening. And on my Instagram reels, like this happened on its own, I don't know how. I started watching these videos where it was raw footage inside these slaughterhouses and factory farms and everything. And I couldn't stop. I kept watching them and I kept searching for keywords and similar words where I can watch more videos because after watching one, like that really impacted me and I wanted to see like what exactly happens. And even if that was taking a toll on my emotions, I also realized that this is not my life.
Yeah.
I'm getting impacted, but this is their everyday life. So I wanted to know more, like what is happening, what exactly goes on and everything. So, and I watched a couple of videos, a lot of videos, and I was in Mumbai, in my flat, in my room. And luckily my roommate was not there. It was post midnight. And I started crying. I had a emotional breakdown, yeah, because I felt so helpless. I'm just learning this, and how is this normalized?
Yeah.
Like the treatment that's happening inside these confined slaughterhouses where people can't see what's actually happening, and all this is legal. So I think, yeah, that emotional breakdown I still remember. And I was searching on Google, like factory farms near me and this, that. And I was planning to go there and free some animals,
Yeah.
I was thinking of these measures.
You just desperately want to do something.
Yeah, just something.
Yeah.
And then I realized, but I'm in Mumbai. Like, where will I free them and keep them? Like, where will I take them?
Yeah.
Should I bring them to my flat, which is the size of a matchbox?
Yeah.
Like, what should I do? So much is happening. And I just remember feeling very helpless. So this is the least I can do. Like, talk about it. When I get the time, just talk about this on social media.
Yeah.
And with people I meet at work.
Yeah.
And just have respectful conversations. I also don't mean to come across as someone, I don't mean to come from a place of a moral high ground. I just want to have an open conversation because I genuinely believe that all humans, have empathy
Yeah.
inside them. That's why we have survived together.
Yeah.
And so many different people, that's why we are together today. So if we just tap into that empathy for all the animals, I think their lives would be better and the world would be better. The climate is directly
Yeah.
connected to
Yeah, definitely.
animals and what is happening. So that I vividly remember. And there's also one more thing that really bothers me. And because I am a religious Hindu and I love cows, the way they are just roaming around
Yeah.
on the roads, and people are leaving poly bags. And I understand that गाय हमारी माता है and we want to feed the cow, but be mindful of not leaving the poly bag
Yeah.
there and just keep it with you till you find a dustbin that has a lid.
Yeah.
Because these are very gentle, innocent creatures and they'll swallow the plastic.
Yeah.
So there's so many people, activists who are talking about this now finally, that they find like kilos of plastic inside cows. So that's something that really bothers me too, like the condition they go through.
Yeah.
They deserve better treatment. Even in dairy farms, they definitely deserve better treatment.
You know the stray cows that we see on the road?
Yeah.
It's actually the cows who have been discarded after the treatment from the dairy.
Yeah.
So the milk that they produce,
Yeah.
it's all dry. Now they are of no use to the dairy industry.
Yeah.
So that they have just been discarded on the streets.
Yeah.
And nobody cares about how they live, what they'll do. And like
Yeah.
you said, they eat on they live on polybags.
Yeah.
So that's really, I mean, we need to reintrospect and
Yes,
at least
exactly.
make changes to our lifestyle, right?
Yeah.
So that we don't support such industries.
Yeah.
We try to do better from our end. Coming to this, since we're talking about how it has taken a toll on you, how you cried, had a breakdown, how do you deal with that? How do you deal with the kind of, trauma that comes with it? Obviously, I'm sure our trauma is nothing in front of
Yeah, their
the
lives.
trauma. The kind of things that they go through, what they go through is much worse.
Yeah.
But seeing it also has an impact on you. And I know that you are passionate about mental health. You
Yeah.
talk about it, right?
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah. Did my research.
Yeah, you did your research.
Yeah. So how do you deal with that?
So like I said, we have a meditation guru. So I think in these battles which are difficult, like emotionally can take a toll on you.
Yeah.
I think that really helps because I've been very regular with my meditation. If I'm busy, I don't meditate, but almost every day I'm doing my meditation and my mala. So that's something like my family follows. So that helps, but at the same time, it's always at the back of my mind. So I can't ever know peace after I've known what actually the reality is.
Yeah.
And it's just important. I think this is the only motivation that keeps people like me, like you, and like this, like Mercy for Animals, and so many animal rights activists to just keep going, no matter what. So whatever discussions, debates we are a part of in our daily life also, we'll come across people who don't support this.
Yeah.
But how do we stay motivated? Because we have seen that very closely and we know that whatever is happening is unnecessary.
Yeah.
So that's the only motivation to keep going. And yeah, it does take a mental toll on me. And it's just important to find moments of peace and take care of your mental health. I do that through meditation. It's really worked wonders for me over these years. Yeah, that's all.
Nice, yeah. Coming to you being a part of pageants.
Yeah.
You're an actor, you're an influencer, model. So this entire world of glamour, correct me if I'm wrong, but from an outsider's point of view, I would say that what we see is the world of overconsumption. You know, like there be clothes, products, beauty products. So, but at the same time, when we are talking about animal cruelty, we are also talking about sustainability.
Yeah.
That is how it's also related to climate change, how you can, like altering your lifestyle, taking a, adopting a better diet or a better lifestyle which is cruelty free also helps in building a better future in terms of a sustainable future. So like how do you balance that out in your case?
I think you are right somewhere when you're saying that this industry thrives on, I would say, aesthetics a lot. And that leads to overconsumption because you have to keep up and you have to keep looking good. But I feel like fashion should not only empower the consumer, but it should empower the world surrounding the consumer too. So I don't support leather or any other animal skin or fur or anything. If it's faux fur, I get it. But I don't support animal skin because why would you cause someone harm and then just call it fashion?
Yeah.
It's not fashion, and beauty doesn't have to cause harm to anybody.
Yeah.
It's got to do with you. So it's even more beautiful when you support something that's cruelty free.
Yeah.
So I make sure that I buy cruelty free makeup or cruelty free skincare. Of course, it's very tricky to be in this industry and to have this cause that you're supporting. So I think sometimes you don't have a say in what you do, but always see that not as a compromise, but as an opportunity and have a conversation, even in those times when you have to be a part of something you don't want to be a part of. Just speak up.
Yeah.
And they might realize that, vegan options are actually cheaper, more cost effective. Like there's vegan leather. I saw this at H&M.
Yeah.
There's vegan leather and just so much more. And like when it comes to cruelty free skincare and makeup also, I was having this conversation with my dermatologist, and I was breaking out a lot on my face. And I was worried because I had a shoot coming up. So I asked her, what should I apply on my face? Because I have a shoot in like a few days and I have these breakouts. So she suggested these skincare products, and I casually asked her, are these cruelty-free products? So she said, darling, nothing is cruelty-free in this world. Everything is being tested, and you need to do that. So please just apply these if you want your face to be clear before the shoot. So that is also
That's
happening.
very sad.
Yeah, it's sad.
Very sad.
How do I deal in such situations? So I didn't go for these options, like if anybody wants to know. So in those situations, I try to strike a conversation. If it resonates with the other person, they will, change themselves. Otherwise, yeah.
Do you have any like homemade DIY vegan masks or anything that you use that you would like to like share with me and people are watching it?
I don't know. I don't really use homemade masks, to be honest, or any like store-bought masks also. But I do focus on hydration a lot. It's vegan.
Yeah.
It is very
Drinking
cheap.
water, right?
Yeah.
Drinking water is vegan, best skincare ever.
Drinking water, cruelty-free water.
Yeah.
And having a lot of fruits. So you get so many vitamins.
Yeah.
That really helps with the skin, I've realized. And yeah, all this.
Coffee masks are like in.
Yeah.
Coffee masks are good for, good for detanning. Even oat masks are good for detanning.
Oh.
Yeah. I use a lot of homemade stuff.
Multani mitti is also good, I've heard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Multani mitti also. With rose water you can put.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ojasvi, will you ever date a non-vegetarian?
Okay. This is very tricky. Not exactly, to be honest. I would want to date someone who does not consume meat. I've actually had this conversation with someone who's not my boyfriend anymore.
Oh.
And I tried to convince them to change their lifestyle. But I understand that can't happen like in a day.
Yeah.
But I can't wait forever. So I was like,
Plus,
okay, maybe in another life.
I think chicks love a vegetarian.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
and honestly, I feel like
Veg boys take note.
I think yeah, if you believe in God, if you're like pure veg and you don't support meat and cruelty to animals in any way, I will have a soft spot for you.
Thank
So
you. Take
that's-
notes, boys.
Yeah. Sorry, non-vegetarian hotties.
Do you have any stories that you'd like to share of dating somebody who was your ex was non-vegetarian? Do you have like an
Yeah.
interesting story where you'd like to share?
So we used to have this conversation. I tried to not annoy him like all the time, but there were times when I used to have a serious conversation, like, do you think of switching your lifestyle and this, that? So, and he was kind enough to say that he is planning to. But I understand that it's not easy to suddenly switch when you've been a certain way, you've been living a certain way. So I understand that. But I've realized that it doesn't work for me and it just doesn't help. If I feel so much for animals, it's
Yeah.
just difficult to, imagine being on a date and you're having pure like these plants and everything, and on the other plate you see animals.
Yeah. Yeah, it's disgusting.
Yeah, it makes you uncomfortable.
And you also think
I
that-
love that animal and it's
Yeah.
on your plate.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And you also like it's very difficult to comprehend how the other person thinks that it's normal.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
you just sort of like lose respect for them.
Yeah, you do somewhere. I didn't want to say it, but
Yeah.
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 Yeah. So it's difficult to be with someone who's,
Chalo, we got our answers. Whoever needed to know got their answers.
my God, there's
Yeah.
matchmaking happening.
So it was very nice chatting with you, Ojasvi.
Yeah.
And I hope that our podcast at least changes one person on the internet.
Yeah, that's the goal, right?
the goal.
I am glad you ended with that. That's exactly what I plan to do. A lot of my friends ask me, you can't change people by making such videos.
Yeah.
If someone has been used to a lifestyle, they won't really change after seeing your videos. And even if they see what happens, a lot of people actually say this, but this is how they are cut. Like when I show them videos. So my goal is, even if there's one person out there who's sensitive enough
Yeah.
and who gets impacted, I've achieved it,
Yeah.
right?
Plus, it's generally said that it's very difficult to change your lifestyle. So for that, we at MFA have a vegan starter guide. Ooh! It'll help you become vegan. So this will be a great starter if somebody wants to have a more compassionure lifestyle.
How to eat vegan. Oh yeah, I went through this and I got
You want to take a look at it?
Yes. There's this bowl, which is called a smoothie bowl, I think. Fruits and everything, nuts, idli, there's
It has everything
chana,
vegan, yeah.
pasta, gajar halwa vegan, poha is vegan. So there are so many options that are vegan, and people think that what do you eat?
Yeah. This is the best guide for that.
This is an amazing guide and it will open your mind to so many options that are vegan, are healthy, and are compassionate. So download the link to know more. There is so much that is inside this. It will be placed here somewhere. Yeah. And just keep being curious.
Thank you, Ojasvi, for being a part of our podcast. It was really nice talking to you. I got to learn so much about so many things. And it's so nice to meet somebody who is also as passionate about, animal welfare as we are. So, yeah. It was
Thank you so much for having me, and I wish to continue to contribute in ways that I can.